So I just got off work, as you can tell with me wearing this Ralph Lauren polo. Ralph Lauren, care to sponsor me? I just got home from work, and I decided to hop on Twitter for a little bit before I did some homework, and I saw that at the same time Biden bombed Syria, Congress also proposed, or I shouldn't say proposed, but left out and decided that $15 minimum wage is not going to be in the new multi-trillion-dollar stimulus package that's going to be coming here within the coming months. Did I see it coming? Yeah, I saw it coming. It's pretty obvious to anybody that Biden was going to pretty much put the capiche on that one. We kind of suspected the way the Biden administration was going to go. I at least thought it'd be a little slower. There'd be more time between the amount of shit he's done. I thought he'd at least space out the diarrhea, but instead he's just dropping load after load after load on us. First when it comes to Syria, then stealing Syria's oil as well, not getting into the Iran nuclear deal, leaving out $15 minimum wage, saying he's not for healthcare, being he's anti-union. It makes me think that what kind of hope is there really left for a democratic institution and democracy as a whole in the United States? Because people like Biden, now a lot of liberals can't seem to put this together. People like Biden are the reason Trump is able to run for office and make it. His neoliberalism is what leads to neoconservatism, to their reactionary conservatism, the knee-jerk conservative movements. What I mean by this? So let's take a look back towards an earlier presidency. We looked at Clinton. Clinton heavily deregulated the banks with the removal of Glass-Steagall, and people thought that his economy was good, but he was kind of hot potatoing this economy, and he kind of set the standard for banks deciding to fuck us. The banks haven't been decided to fuck the working class for 70 years. After Calvin Coolidge decided to deregulate the banks, look what happened there. What happened right there? Well, if you don't know what happened after Calvin Coolidge, the Great Depression happened. He deregulated the banks heavy and gave them subsidies back in the 20s, and then that led to the Great Depression. There was this huge bubble. And then it happened again with Clinton, with the housing crisis, that Bush also deregulated as well, gave it to Obama. Obama took it. What did he do? He gave $1 million, $1 trillion subsidies to the banks, as most presidents do, because you are their corporate slave. And then that obviously went down, and we finally worked our way back up. And then COVID happened, and then what happened with COVID? Trump was the corporate bitch at the time and gave multi-trillion-dollar bailouts to the large corporations. So there's no real surprise that Biden shot down $15 minimum wage. And don't be surprised if maybe not next election time, but the election after that, even if it's not next election time, the election after that, and potentially the following few presidents are going to be Republican. Because the shit Obama does, Clinton does, and now Biden do, is what breeds this sort of cesspool of just anger and distrust in media and their distrust in the establishment. And then you have these bootlicking dumb fuck liberals who are like, well, at least it's better than Trump, which is better than the Republicans. Like, how fucking dumb are you? How goddamn dumb do you have to be that much of a fucking partisan hack? It's like, it's frustrating. And people are becoming more and more apolitical, or they're moving farther and farther to these extremist ideologies. It's frustrating, to say the least. Biden is off to a pretty rough start, I'd say. He's not having a good go of it, I'll say that. Do I have hope for the next couple years? Yes and no. Yes, in the fact that I think and I hope that the progressive movement as a general and the farther left wing movements, the one of the more worker rights stuff, the ones that are more for livable wages, more for free healthcare, things that affect the American people as a whole. I think that movement's going to get stronger and stronger throughout the Biden administration, or at least I hope. But I'm not optimistic about Biden winning an election again. I see him after this election, kind of, his last horse is finished crossing the finish line. He's exactly what we thought he was going to be. He's that neoliberal war hawk that we know and love. He is Jim Crow Joe. So I hope that this administration doesn't lead to another Trump, because Trump, by all means of it, in all honesty, was quite effective in being a president. Now, he was a dumbass. He said a lot of stupid shit, but all his policies are exactly the same as a standard Republican policy. Most Republicans, I don't want to be a class reductionist or a party reductionist, but a lot of Republicans in Congress and that are at the political level have the same policy ideas. They disagree on more of the cultural stuff. They agree more or disagree on the way that it's presented. For example, there's a reason why people in Mitch McConnell and Mitt Romney dislike Trump. Or, dislike, they just say it until Trump has power, then they follow him. They dislike him because they like decorum. They like the, suit and tie. They like the respectability of it all. And Trump doesn't bring that. He's kind of the shoot from the hip type of guy. Whereas with left-wing movements, it's entirely different. It ranges completely different on social issues, political issues, economic issues, foreign policy. It's all different. So someone like me, where I would call myself a libertarian socialist, more of a workers' party type of guy, I'm much different than someone that considers himself like a blue dog, someone that fervently follows, Kamala Harris, Obama, Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, people like that. People that, or even people that, are subservient to the squad, with AOC and Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Pressley, people like that. I find myself much different, not just in ideology, but in mostly policy. Far different, because they're not willing to, and I don't know the whole situation, so I can't speak on it, but it's looking more and more evident that they're not willing to stand up to the corporate and to the establishment powers. I thought I'd get that off my chest because I'm becoming more and more cynical at this administration and for the future prospects of American politics. So, later guys.